All right, lads, with us being maybe at most a week and a half away from the collaboration event over here on the JP version of the game from beginning, I wanted to go ahead and throw out a little bit of speculation before they actually reveal the new people on who I think we actually might be getting, since Tiamat is only the pre-release campaign. See, I thought she was going to be like the main banner 1, because I do believe we're going to be getting a banner 2, potentially even a banner 3 at this rate if they really want to go all out with this collaboration. But with her only being the pre-release campaign, I mean, the sky's the limit with who we actually might go ahead and get with this. And as someone who has been keeping up with the FGO arcade story ever since about Camelot, when its story deviated away from our story from, the mobile game, I've been keeping up with it. So I think I have an interesting perspective on why I do think they might give us some of these different servants and where they might land as far as banner wise is concerned. So if that interests you, make sure you leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel for future daily FGO content. Also, if you want to see me play FGO live, I do that every weekday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over on my Twitch, so peep that in the description down below. But enough of all that. I'm trying to get into the nitty gritty here. I'm trying to get into the weeds because FGO lore speculation and all that good stuff, I absolutely love talking about all this. Getting to put all that useless lore knowledge to, to work, right? It's finally relevant for speculation, right? Because they finally did the arcade collaboration. But I think the most obvious choice that everybody's kind of gravitating towards is Beast Nero, Queen Draco, whatever you want to say, because she's a very big deal for arcade. If you are not aware, she's basically their Goetia, right? Like, she's like one of their big bad bosses over there on arcade. I mean, they bring just everybody out to try to take her down. I mean, that's why Tiamat is back in arcade. Hassan comes back. I mean, Arthur comes out of literally nowhere. I mean, they just throw out everything they possibly can to try to take her down. Like, she is a pretty big deal, but I don't think she's going to be the first banner we actually see, because it doesn't really make sense to me to throw out the potential villain for the event and like kind of the big highlight, I guess, or the climax for the story at the very first banner, right? Think about like all the Lost Belts and some of the other story chapters that we've gotten, right? Say like Lost Belt 4, they didn't put Arjuna Alter out as banner 1, he was banner 2. And technically, if you want to look at like Koyan Dark, right, you get Tai Gong as the first banner because he's like the new hero servant that we're bringing with us. And it's not until after the event that you actually get to summon for the villain for that event, that being Koyan Dark. So I don't think it makes a whole lot of sense for them to just be like, yeah, banner 1, let's throw out the main villain over here. Let's just throw her out as the first banner and maybe spoil the story for some people, because who knows if they actually do throw her in there. I think it's very obvious, but FGO is being very wonky right now. Who knows who they're going to throw in there. But I think the more obvious choice for the banner 1, someone we do not have and that would fill that role, is like, here is like a good guy servant we could summon before, we start getting into the real spoiler territory for everything, would probably be someone like Noah over here, right? Because Noah's also someone that just comes in during the battle against Queen Draco over there, or Beast Nero, whatever you want to call her. But he is the one that like comes in and kind of helps us out as well. And I think this would be really good for many reasons, right? One, it's a very hype servant. I never personally understood a lot of the hype around Noah, but I know a lot of people were very excited when he did come out and are looking forward to the servant coming to the mobile game. And I think this is like a perfect slot for that. You get a very strong, just good release as like a hero person, and then later on you can go ahead and release the actual villain for the story. And I think that makes a lot more sense. Now, before anybody says like, well, what about say like Saber Coup over here, right? Because a lot of people are very excited for him. I think if they wanted to do a free-to-play servant with the event, this Coup as like a free-to-play guy just feels like it would be really good. I think a lot of people would be very happy with that, because then if you're thinking about what you're all getting for the event, you're getting Tiamat as the pre-release campaign. Everybody's wanted Tiamat for the longest time. Then you get Noah, and then you get Queen Draco, right? Like, those are 3 really, really strong 5 stars. And then you get a free-to-play that people have been looking forward to as well ever since they released over on arcade. I think that's a very strong lineup of servants to introduce. Before anybody mentions like, well, what about any of like the exclusive event servants, like the Christmas servants that have like the new outfits and everything, right? Like the I believe there's a small Da Vinci that has a Christmas outfit. There is Suzuka, and then I think there's like, I believe it's Frankenstein who also has one. There's a couple of servants, right? I don't think we'll really see those in the event, because this, might be more of a serious story event, closer to something like Seraph, or say the Van Gogh event, or Oku, something along those lines. Especially if they're going to bring in someone like Beast Nero. This is probably not going to be times for like goofy servants coming out. Like, the summer servants are never like as serious, or the Christmas servants, you know, are just not as serious. So I feel like you don't want to bring those goofy servants into this event where you're trying to show like, oh, but there's also this like insanely OP person that like Arcade had to like throw everything out to even beat, kind of like what we did for Goetia, right? Like, you just, I don't know, you wouldn't really expect like, I don't know, Lancer Raiko to pull up on Goetia and be like, about to take you out, buddy, in this bathing suit. It just doesn't, it kind of makes the scene feel less serious, right? Like, it just doesn't fit, I don't think, if they were to write like a more serious story chapter. So I think that, for one, I don't think we'll really see anybody like that. But again, I'd also love to be proven wrong. Like, if they do like release this Suzuka as like a costume, or it's just a 4-star on a banner, I mean, I'm not gonna complain, right? They'll be happy to frankly get any of these as costumes. But there's a ton of Arcade exclusive costumes and just servants in general that, like, if they just give us anything here, I'll be very, very happy. I'm not gonna complain. But I think leaving the goofy AHA servants back at home and giving us more of the serious ones is probably what most people are going to want anyway, and it's going to help out the story a little bit more. Another thing I did want to kind of talk about is what Nero we'd actually probably be getting. I don't think we'd actually get this, because this is kind of like the Beast Kiara or the Beast Kama. Like, it is the opponent you fight, but it's not one of the actual ascensions for the actual Queen Draco that they got. They got the small Nero as a free-to-play servant, actually, which was really interesting because it was a free-to-play 5-star. I would really like them to do that as opposed to making her a gacha servant. I do not think it's very likely, though. I cannot see Lysengal giving us a free 5-star. I think it would be really sick to just be like, yeah, here is your first free NP5 5-star servant. Like, even if she's not good at all, I think it'd be really sick. But do I see Lysengal doing that? I don't know. Lysengal seems to be a little bit greedy, you know, with them throwing out like 800 banners every like 2 seconds, right? And just kind of only leaving banners up. I don't know if they're like, you know what, let us give back to the player base and give them this really cool free-to-play 5-star servant. I just can't see them doing it. I don't have enough faith that they do something like that. I guess a little sliver of me will be like, it would be really cool though, but don't think it's actually going to happen. But yeah, we'd probably get this one. Maybe if they're like incredibly based, they would kind of do what they did with Tiamat and change one of her ascensions to maybe being one of these. But again, that's more reliant on her being an actual gacha servant and not a free-to-play, because as we know, free-to-plays only have like one ascension, unless they gave her a costume for the Beast outfit, which again would be incredibly based. But I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. This is kind of what I think the structure is going to be for Arcade. I think this makes the most sense for them to be like, okay, we go Noah because he's very hype, very important. Then boom, part 2, we drop Queen Draco. I think that's really, really sick. You give us Satana as which is Saberku for people that don't know. You give us that guy as a free-to-play, I think everybody's happy. Or you could give us this as a free-to-play, and I think people would still be happy. But I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. I didn't really touch upon like who the 4-star on the banner could be, because I have no idea, right? Like, there's not very many like servants we don't exactly have. Like, they could just put you and you right on the banners as the 4-stars, I suppose, but who knows what they're going to do with that, right? Like, who knows if we'll even get new 4-stars? Maybe it's just all 5-stars, because Lysengal's like, nah, if we put out 3 5-stars, think of all the guap we're going to get. Who knows, right? But with all that being said, again, would love to hear your speculation in the comments down below. I think this is a very fun time to be playing the game, because we get to kind of speculate on an actual real event, right? We've been kind of suffering over here on the JP version of the game in a huge drought. Not a whole lot has been going on since Lost Belt 7 release, so I'm pretty happy that we're finally getting some real good content. I mean, we're like starving children over here, and we're finally being given like a crumb, right? They gave us Tiamat, and so we're finally eating this crumb, and I'm just like, oh, we gotta take it and run with it, boys. But I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace, late, guys.